Welcome back, children. In the previous class, we had seen how the huge mass, Pangea, how it divided itself into two different land masses, that is, Laurussia and Gondwana lands. And Gondwana lands are Gondwana land is it comprises of Gondwana land comprises of southern land masses like South Africa, Australia, India, Antarctica, and so on. And now it said that once this Antarctica was teeming with life because it was somewhere near the equator. Then how come it reached the pole? And how come it became so cold? That was another question that these geologists and these scientists had to answer to, because they had found many fossils of animals and plants which actually indirectly said that no, this was not, Antarctica was not as it is today. So those were the questions that were there in the minds of the in the minds of the scientists. Now they came to the conclusion that due to the movement of the tectonic plates, tectonic plates are the plates that are there, rocky plates that are there under the earth's crust. And when these these tectonic plates move, that is when you have the disasters like earthquake, tsunami, because of the movement of these plates under the earth. And these plates are responsible for the new geographic structures. Like you must have read that Himalaya was formed because of the movement of two tectonic plates. They came closer to each other, due to which a mass of the crust of the earth, it just bulged out, and that's how Himalayas were formed. So, and then the oceans, when two tectonic plates move away from each other, there is a depression formed, and water fills into it, and thus rivers, lakes, and all these things happen. And when they move, when the movement takes place, there is earthquake or any other natural disaster due to which the earth shakes a lot. If it's in the ocean, you have things like tsunami and all, and if it's on earth, you have things like earthquake. So maybe due to the movement of these tectonic plates, gradually this place, Antarctica, which once had a lot of life on it, reached the poles. Now let's start with, and yesterday I told you how it cooled down. Reduction of CO2. There was reduction of carbon dioxide, and then the change in the orbit. That is the place. It was away from the sunlight. So there was a high degree of cooling. And so 34 million years ago, this cooling process started, and today we have what is known as the coldest Antarctica. So let's start with the lesson. Journey to the End of the Earth by Tishani Doshi. If you want to know more about the planet's past, present, and future, the Antarctica is the place to go to. Bon voyage. So, if you want to know more about our planet Earth, its past, its present, and what the future is going to be, then the best place to visit is the Antarctica. If you go to Antarctica, you can make out what the past was, what was the past of this earth where we are living, and present condition, and future. How will our future be? Everything can be predicted if you go to or pay a visit to Antarctica, and that too, you can reach Antarctica only on ship. So you can go for a voyage. Early this year, I found myself aboard on Russian research vessel, the academic Shokleski. So, academic Shokleski is a ship, okay, that is meant only for Russian researchers. Okay, they go on the ships to different places for researches. And can you tell me who this I is? Early this year, I found myself Tishani Doshi. Okay, so she is giving her experience. Okay, heading towards the coldest, driest, windiest continent in the world. So this particular vessel or the ship. Okay, vessel means here it means ship. So this particular vessel was moving towards the coldest and the driest and the windiest continent in the world, and that is Antarctica. My journey began 1309 degrees north of the equator. So you know longitudes and latitudes. Yeah, I think you must have studied about it in your geography classes, in lower classes. Okay, so she started her journey 13.09 degrees north of the equator in Madras. So she started from Madras and involved crossing 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 water bodies, and at least as many ecospheres. So, on her journey from Madras to Antarctica, she had to cover 9 time zones. 9 time zones means, I hope you know, as the longitudes change, okay, your time also keeps on changing. Okay, so here she had to cross 9 different time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 water bodies, and at least many means she could not count. Okay, that many ecospheres, that is different habitat of animals, different habitations of animals. So you can just imagine how many places she had to cross just to reach Antarctica. By this time, by the time I actually set foot on the Antarctic continent, I had been traveling over 100 hours in combination of a car, an airplane, a ship. So before she could step her first foot on Antarctic, okay, continent, she had traveled around 100 hours, and the vehicles that she had taken up were car, airplane, and ship. So my first emotion on facing Antarctica's expansive white landscape and uninterrupted blue horizon was relief, followed up with an immediate and profound wonder. So, when she reached Antarctica, and she was very happy, and that happens actually when you reach your destination, that actually happens with everyone. You become very excited. So she was also very excited seeing the expanse of the huge expanse of white landscape, because only snow all around, ice all around, uninterrupted blue horizon was relief. So the sky was blue, and everywhere what you see is just white color, okay, followed up with an immediate and profound wonder. And then she started thinking. She became extremely shock stricken. She started wondering, actually, not shock stricken. She actually started wondering what this world is all about. Okay, now wonder at its immensity, its isolation, but mainly at how there could ever have been a time when India and Antarctica were part of the same landmass. So she started thinking that how could this happen? Once upon a time, this particular landmass, Antarctica, was a part of India. How could this happen? And she started wondering at its immensity. Immensity means the immense, the huge, okay, huge landscape. And then she started thinking about how this particular landscape became so isolated. Okay, and she could not even imagine that once this was a part of the huge landmass Gondwana, and India was also a part, and Antarctica was similar to India. Just imagine. And now here it's known as the coldest, driest, and windiest continent. So that's something very surprising. Now we move on to the second part of this particular lesson, part of history. 650 million years ago, a giant amalgamated southern supercontinent, Gondwana, did indeed exist, centered roughly around the present day Antarctica. So, it really existed. This Gondwana, if we think about it, it really existed. But how many years back? 650 million years ago. So, this particular landmass did exist. Amalgamated means unit, a single unit, a huge single unit, okay, of southern subcontinent. And northern subcontinent was, yes, Laurasia. So the southern subcontinent was Gondwana, and it did exist once, and it did exist roughly around the present day Antarctica, where Antarctica at present is. At that particular place, this particular continent existed. Things were quite different then. Humans hadn't arrived on the global scene, and the climate was much warmer, hosting a huge variety of flora and fauna. So, things were quite different. How many years ago? 650 million years ago. And humans never existed at that time. And the globe and this earth was, the climate of the earth was much, much warmer. And so, but still, there were huge varieties of flora and fauna, plants and animals. For 500 million years, Gondwana thrived, but around the time when the dinosaurs were wiped out, the age of mammals got underway. The landmass was forced to separate into countries, shaping the globe much as we know it today. So, it was like that for many years. Okay. Many years, this Gondwana, that is for 500 million years, Gondwana did exist, did flourish, thrived, did flourish. But when it was a time when the dinosaurs started becoming extinct, they were wiped out from this land. And that is when the mammals started stepping onto the earth. The existence of mammals started coming onto the earth, and that is when the earth, this particular landmass, that is Gondwana, started separating into different countries, and the shape was somewhat like the present globe. It was not exactly the present globe. Okay, children, we'll stop here. Please go through the lesson. We'll have the rest of the lesson next day. Thank you. Have a great day.